to the Provincial Emergency Coordination Centre. Thanks for joining us here in person and online. I'm going to introduce a couple of people here who you'll hear from. Stephen Lacroix is the Managing Director of the Alberta Emergency Management Agency, and Christy Tucker, Information Unit Manager, Alberta Wildfire. They'll both make a few remarks before we take questions. Stephen, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Leanne. Folks, good morning, everybody. Thank you for your attention today. Let me firstly acknowledge that we're gathered on Treaty 6 territory. I also acknowledge the Métis people who share deep history and connection with this land. So I'm speaking to you today from the Provincial Emergency Coordination Centre, where provincial staff and many partners have gathered to help Albertans stay safe as wildfire conditions persist throughout the province. I'd like to share my sympathy with the people who have lost everything in the fires. This is a stark reminder of just how unpredictable and powerful wildfires can be. I ask you to keep the affected folks in your thoughts today. Turning to updates, the situation is very serious, as you all realize, and I want to issue a warning to all Albertans who have active fires in their area. Please listen to all officials or local officials and obey any evacuation orders you may receive. Follow the Alberta Emergency Alert application and website, and your local municipality for evacuation information and available services. Alberta 511 also provides up-to-date highway closures and conditions. Speaking more generally about the fire situation, there are about now 78 active wildfires burning throughout the province, with 19 most recently listed as out of control. Many communities are affected by the fires, with over 13,000 Albertans evacuated from their homes as we speak. We're working with federal, provincial, and municipal partners to deliver emergency supports throughout this evolving and extremely fluid situation. In collaboration with local authorities, we're also leveraging resources from non-governmental organizations as required. Please be sure to take every precaution when keeping yourself and your family safe, including packing important documents, medication, and supplies to be away from home for at least 3 days. Thank you. I would now like to turn over to Christy Tucker from Alberta Wildfire for more information on the situation. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen. I'd just like to start by saying it's early in the day and this is a rapidly changing situation, so the information I'm going to give you is true as of right now, but for updates on the emerging wildfire situation in Alberta, please go to the Alberta Wildfire website and look at our status map. That is live from our system, so you will always have the most up-to-date information there. As Stephen mentioned, there are 78 active wildfires burning right now in the province. So far this year, we've had 348 wildfires since January 1st, and it's burned more than 25,000 hectares of land. That's significantly more wildfire activity for this time of year than we've certainly seen any time in the recent past. Today, we're looking to the conditions. We're expecting very warm weather and extremely strong winds, particularly in the northern half of the province. And this will tell you this is not great for wildfire activity. That tends to cause very active wildfires, and our folks on the ground are going to have to be very careful about their own safety and, of course, the safety of the communities that they're protecting. Because of these conditions, the conditions are right for a wildfire to start and spread very quickly. And because of that, there is a fire ban and an off-highway vehicle restriction across the forest protection area now in place. That means that people cannot have open wood fires on public or private land or in their backyards. If you want to find out exactly what bans and restrictions are in place, I know the parks are following our lead in many of the areas across the province, and a lot of municipalities have brought in bans of their own. Please visit albertafirebans.ca, and that will have the most up-to-date information about any bans in place and what you can and cannot do in the forest protection area or outside in Alberta. This is a result of very high fire danger today. Because of this, the safety of Albertans and their communities is our #1 priority for Alberta Wildfire. We have a number of wildfires that I can update you on that are priority fires for us, where we are going to be focusing a lot of attention. Fires that are starting today, fires that have been burning for a day or so as well. Of course, a lot of interest of the Drayton Valley area. Wildfire RCU-005 is currently out of control. It's listed as 1,500 hectares in size. This wildfire is outside of the forest protection area, and we're providing assistance to Brazeau County as much as we can in fighting this fire because it's their lead. Overnight, we saw activity on the fire. It crossed the river, and the officials there made the decision to evacuate. It's currently burning inside the river valley between the river and Highway 22, 7 kilometers from the south edge of Drayton Valley. It has grown 20 hectares on that side of the river today. We have 26 firefighters, 3 helicopters and air tankers working on this fire. We're supporting the county in every way we can and have the ability to provide more support if they need it. Looking to Fox Lake, that's an out-of-control wildfire there at 4,400 hectares. There's a Type 1 incident management team on that fire, 36 firefighters, 3 helicopters, air tankers, and heavy equipment all working to control that fire right now. We were able to conduct nighttime operations overnight using night vision technology, which allows us to fight wildfire around the clock. We assisted in the evacuations that were being carried out of 115 people yesterday using 2 of our helicopters to get the remaining residents to safety. In Rainbow Lake, in a similar area up in the high level area, we do have a team working on that fire as well, managing the fire. It's currently moving away from the community, but it's still a significant priority for firefighters. We have a few new starts that we are watching, and we are going to make sure that we have enough resources today to share them where the priorities are as they develop. As I said, this is a rapidly changing situation today. It's early in the day. It's going to get hotter, it's going to get windier, and we're expecting some extreme wildfire behavior. So firefighters are at the ready today for what could be a very challenging day. We have firefighters coming into the province today through an agreement with our colleagues in Ontario and Quebec through the Canadian Interagency Forest Fire Centre. They are sending 79 firefighters arriving today, and we have requests for more assistance as well. We will assign all resources where they are needed most as soon as they're ready to go.
Thanks, Christy. We'll start with questions in the room if there are any. Go ahead. Yep.
Yes, thank you for the question. It is a bit complex because it's shared responsibilities, as actually we've answered to you yesterday, I believe, right? So the Alberta Emergency Management Agency manages the alerting system in so much that we train and enable local authorities or end users to issue those alerts. We can issue them ourselves, but we are leveraging telecommunication companies to facilitate those alerts, and they are governed under a federal system that falls under the CRTC. So, of course, we've been made aware of the issue. We have asked our partners to clarify. I don't really need to know what the problem is, to be perfectly honest. I just want the solution, what the solution is, and what is the timeline for that solution. And as a mitigation measure for all Albertans who are concerned, please, again, as I mentioned in my statement, download the emergency alert app, and you will see functionality in there that tells you that if you want to receive only local emergencies, you can receive province-wide emergency alerts, and there's also the website available. But it is a concern, and we've addressed it where, let's call it, the situation or the challenge lies. Thank you.
Carly, sorry, I forgot to remind you to please ask your questions into the mic so the folks on the phone can hear you.
Just to follow up on the fire management, last night Parkland County was tweeting that, hey, if you have a bulldozer, come help us, and they're asking for more supports today. Does this highlight the nature of how many fires are across the province and the resources and how stretched they are?
Yeah, there's a huge fire load in the province right now. As you've seen, we have fires on the sort of central portion. We have fires in the north. It's just an indication of the conditions that we're seeing. Temperatures have been 10 to 15 degrees above normal for a little while now. We still don't have green grass and leaves all over the province, which means that the ground is very dry, vegetation is ready to go. So I'm happy that people are offering support. We get a lot of calls for support. We certainly use contractors throughout the season to assist, and we rely a lot. I know Albertans are very generous, and this is a good sign, but we have the situation in hand. We have the resources that we need, and we have trained professional firefighters coming in to assist us so we can ensure that the wildfire management across the province is taken care of.
Go ahead.
Hi, Travis McEwen, CBC News, Edmonton. You touched on this a little bit. Right now, which fire is the priority from the province's point of view in terms of attention and resources, and why?
We have a few things we consider when we're looking at wildfire priorities. Number one is human life. So what we're looking at is those areas where communities are affected immediately and where we can help people right away if we can. So we are looking at those fires that I highlighted. We're looking in Drayton Valley, we're looking in Fox Lake and Rainbow Lake nearby. And of course, we have to prioritize any new fires that could start because if we have a chance to catch a fire early, that's going to save a lot of work down the line.
In terms of resources, how confident are you in the current resources with the fires right now, and how close is the province to maybe asking for help from other provinces or even the feds?
We're very happy that we have a very close relationship with many of the other wildfire agencies across the province. Here in Alberta, we tend to get wildfires earlier on in the year than they do in other places across Canada. So we're able to share resources with trained professional firefighters that we know will operate at the standard that we expect here in Alberta. And as I said, we're bringing in new firefighters from Ontario and Quebec tomorrow. We've got a request in for more assistance if we need it. And we'll be there to provide assistance to Ontario, Quebec, BC later in the season if they're having a difficult time. But we take advantage of that agreement between provinces to be able to help each other out.
And Catherine Krukowski, Alberta Today, where are we at in terms of our own workforce, in terms of what percentage of the hiring we've done?
It's still a bit early in the season for us to be busy. So we certainly have a lot of very professional, trained firefighters who work on staff all year round, who are available to fight fires when we have them that start in December. And we do have fires all year round here in Alberta. I'm happy to say we have a significant number of our seasonal firefighters on and ready to go. And so with the assistance particularly of these firefighters from Ontario and Quebec, we're well covered for resources.
And when you talk about sharing resources with municipalities and contractors, can you explain a little bit how that works? When is it that the province would step in to help in a fire that's outside of your zone?
The municipalities will come to us. We're obviously aware of fire situation across the province outside of the forest protection area. Forest protection area is our main jurisdiction, and of course we make our resources available to municipalities as soon as needed. So we are in constant contact with municipalities when we have a new start. They know what resources are available to them, and we're talking with them from day one.
Hi, my name is Julien Latraverse for Radio-Canada. My question will be in French for Monsieur Lacroix. Est-ce que c'est possible de faire un retour sur la situation en français, s'il vous plaît?
Oui, ça va peut-être prendre un petit peu de temps parce que je vais avoir à traduire ça dans ma tête en même temps que je vous parle.
C'est apprécié.
D'accord, merci. Donc, comme j'ai dit, on est en partenariat avec les gouvernements fédéraux et municipaux et bien sûr le gouvernement de l'Alberta pour livrer les les ressources et les commodités nécessaires pour aider les personnes qui sont en train de subir malheureusement les effets dévastateurs des feux qu'on a présentement dans la province. Ce que je pourrais vous dire, c'est que, tel que mentionné précédemment, on est au courant d'environ 78 feux dans la province. 19 de ces feux-là sont hors de contrôle. Et en collaboration avec ma collègue ici, son organisation, Alberta Wildfire, je vais le laisser en anglais, et les départements des services de pompiers ou d'incendie des municipalités, nous collaborons pour, éteindre ces feux, mais ma priorité, pour être absolument clair, c'est de s'assurer qu'on n'a aucune perte de vie, ce qui inclut bien sûr les citoyens des communautés affectées et aussi les premiers répondants qui travaillent dans des conditions extrêmement difficiles. Nous sommes en contact avec les autorités locales, nous sommes en contact avec les organisations non gouvernementales pour amener du soutien nécessaire, ce qui a été fait dans le nord-ouest de la province, à High Level et Fort Vermilion. J'aimerais renforcer encore le point que tous les Albertains devraient porter attention aux alertes qui sont déclenchées par soit leur municipalité ou notre organisation. Écouter les services policiers dans leur communauté, se préparer et avoir à leur disponibilité des documents précieux qu'ils préféraient ne pas perdre, j'ai un petit blanc de mémoire, leur cabinet de médecine ou leur pilule en bon français pour une période d'environ minimum de 3 jours avec eux. Lorsqu'ils arrivent à nos centres de réception, toute l'information nécessaire va leur être fournie sur ce qu'ils doivent faire par la suite. Je crois que j'ai couvert à peu près tout ce que j'avais couvert en anglais, mais je suis prêt à prendre une autre question si vous voulez.
Oui. Est-ce que c'est possible pour vous d'expliquer les causes derrière ces feux et aussi d'expliquer en quoi la situation est grave?
Oui, d'accord. Bon, ben, c'est malheureusement une question pour ma collègue, mais je vais faire de mon mieux pour répondre. Vous avez présentement une situation où le degré d'humidité est plus bas que la température au thermomètre, et ce qui crée des conditions parfaites pour les feux de forêt, et les vents élevés font juste aggraver la situation. Donc, ce que je dirais aussi, c'est que la majorité, sinon presque tous les feux jusqu'à date, ont été causés par ce qu'on pourrait dire des erreurs humaines. Nous n'avons pas encore, par chance, avoir eu à traiter avec des orages électriques, quoique je crois qu'hier soir, on a eu une petite. Donc, il est presque impossible pour nous de prévoir où est-ce que ces feux vont se déclarer. Et l'équipe de Christie doit faire un équilibre entre adresser les feux qui menacent la population et les vies humaines et essayer d'éteindre les feux qui débutent avant qu'ils deviennent problématiques.
Do we have one more in the room, and then we'll go to the phones? Thanks.
Hi, this is Nicole from CTV News. Just heading back to the communications issues, even for media outlets. You know, we saw the first news release from the province last night saying fire update #1, when we know that there's been fires for a week. Is the province now taking over communications? I guess communications moving forward, where can we get the best information? We've seen some municipalities' websites are updated, some aren't. Some people are going to Facebook, some are going to Twitter, some aren't. Where can we get the best information?
I could take a stab at that and then maybe hand it over to Leanne. But the decision has been made to do daily events such as this. So I think this is where you start to populate your information requirements. Of course, we have a really good idea as to what's going on the ground through our mechanisms and the people that we've pushed out to municipalities. As often is the case, I would say that local authorities and those municipalities being affected would have a similar narrative than we are, but maybe more specific to their particular circumstances. But as I said, though, we'll be doing this daily until the situation dictates otherwise. Leanne, do you have anything to add, please?
I think Christy can probably update on the work that's been going on the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, well, we do have a number of communication tools. Last year, we introduced an updated wildfire status dashboard on the Alberta Wildfire website, and that is directly linked to our system so that as soon as we have a new start, within minutes, it appears on the dashboard. And that will give you a lot more information than was previously available, so that will tell you the suspected cause, the size, the activity, and how the fire is classified. For wildfires of note, we do update that information daily and provide information such as how many firefighters we have on the fire. So we provide as much information as we can, and we have for a year or for many years, but certainly that dashboard has been active for a year. And of course, people who live within the forest protection area can always sign up for much more detailed updates from their local forest area. And that includes a lot of information about wildfires that are active in their area. So I would recommend anyone who's interested in following the wildfire situation should go to the wildfire status dashboard on the Alberta Wildfire website, and they can sign up for local updates through that site as well.
And just to follow up, on those emergency situations where you're needing to evacuate immediately, and there are issues with the emergency alert system with people's phones, is there sort of a backup there? I think we heard maybe in Drayton there was police possibly going door to door. What is a backup for if that doesn't work?
Yeah, well, I would say that the police is not a backup. It's part of the procedure. So the alert is issued, and in this case, it would be called a critical alert. And in that particular incident, the RCMP actually went door to door. And we also leveraged provincial resources, the sheriffs in this case, to do just that. Actually, before that alert was issued, if we want to talk specifically about Drayton Valley, we communicated with the RCMP and proactively sought information as to if they had sufficient resources to effect the notification, to which they answered yes.
Is that always the case in every community?
Well, you know, there's no absolutes in this business, right? It's a bit of a contact sport. But there's, like in smaller communities, we would need to leverage local leadership specifically, that's what happened in Fox Lake, right, with the chief. And actually, like if you allow me, I'd like to thank and congratulate, I guess maybe somewhat the wrong word, but they took the right steps at the right time. And again, like I will admit, you know, there'll be some frustrations and some friction points with how this might have gone down. But I think you need to understand the level of complexity involved in evacuating Fox Lake with a barge, a dirt road, a cut line to get to a paved road, and then head on to down to high level and Fort Vermilion. So extremely complex in a volatile situation, a mix of people who are willingly evacuating, others that are kind of testing the system until it's very late. And thankfully, actually, and that was deliberate, but we had the Wildfire Management Branch online with aviation assets in the air, and they were able to shuttle the last remnants of Fox Lake with the help again of the chief and the barge, because the barge landing was actually too close to the fire to evacuate at one point. So they had to select another landing, and our First Nation field officer, the Wildfire Management Branch, and the local authorities did a stellar job. Drayton Valley, it could have been much worse. It could always be much worse. Could we do better? Maybe. I would argue probably, as these things are always happening at the wrong time of day, under very dire circumstances, with people somewhat traumatized, if not shocked, as to what's happening. And again, some frustrations, certainly. Everybody's out. Everybody's alive. Nobody's injured. Thank you.
Ask for your patience on the phone. We have one more in the room.
Yeah, it's Safe Kaiser Global News. I'm just wondering, so Parkland County over the weekend said, they have enough resources, they're able to fight the fires, and then now they're calling on people on social media saying, hey, if you're a laborer, if you have machinery, please come out, we need your help. So I'm just wondering, have resources been taken away from Parkland County? And, how do you determine which municipalities get which resources and when?
Parkland County is the Entwistle, Evansburg fire. Is that correct?
I believe so.
The other one is in Yellowhead.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Wildwood.
Yeah. We do have an incident management team in that area working on fire, and that means you have an organized team full of wildfire professionals carrying out many different levels of their jobs. Certainly, if municipalities want to look for extra assistance, that's certainly their decision. But we use trained wildfire firefighters, contractors who are used to dealing with wildfire situation. And as far as I know, no additional resources have been removed from any urgent wildfire situations. We have to move people around the province due to the demand when wildfires start up, and we have to make sure that we are flexible and able to move resources, but we would never remove resources from an urgent developing situation when the wildfire was out of control and threatening a community.
Do you have a follow-up?
Yeah, so I'm just wondering, in total, since this started, how many people have been evacuated? And I don't mean to cast any aspersions here. I'm just curious. We see wildfires of an extreme nature every single year. Why does it feel like every single year we're still not fully prepared for it?
So what do you mean by fully prepared? What's your expectation?
I'm not entirely sure. That's what I'm asking.
Yeah. So what I would say is we've learned some very hard lessons, as unfortunately Alberta has faced. I think if my numbers are correct, like 7 of the 10 worst natural disasters in the past decade. Right, and I go back to some pretty traumatic events in 2016 in RMWB, 2019 Chuckig Fire, Northern Alberta floods, and the like. And our system is way more robust than 2016. We've taken an approach where we, through actual legislation, mandate local authorities, local emergency managers, to have response plans, evacuation plans, train yearly exercises to train on those plans. And I would argue, actually, I would counter your point, and I would say that actually we're much better than we were, and the situation has improved dramatically. As I said before, though, it's an uncertain space there that we're navigating, and if those fires happened at the same time every year in the same place, it'd be one thing, but it's not. So we're pushing out, I think, all the necessary planning expertise, the training expertise, so people are getting trained on incident command system and the like. We're prepared to push incident management teams above and beyond what Christy talked about, and we've actually deployed one to Drayton Valley earlier today to provide that expertise. But the system is built in such a way that local authorities are best positioned to know what they need. We have people co-located with the most severe events taking place right now, direct link back to the agency, and whatever additional supports they require, we will throw at them like this, if available. But we're not dealing with I wouldn't call it traditional, but the massive single event where the government throws all of its resources at one thing. I am very concerned that we don't look at the current situation through a straw and make it all about Fox Lake or make it all about Drayton Valley and Brazeau County. I truly feel for these people, but we need all the resources of the government available to respond to this. And those resources, we're focusing on emergency management, but it's way more complex than that, right? You would understand that there's social services involved, there's education involved, there's, of course, Alberta Health and AHS, as these things have severe impacts on a number of Albertans. We have a number, actually, we have the bulk of the GOA, or the Government of Alberta, and its ministries are coordinating maybe below the emergency level to make sure we deliver those support programs to all affected Albertans. Very complex space, though. It's a bit of a wobbly situation for us to manage, but as I said, right, everybody's alive. Nobody got hurt. Some people had a rough night. I had a rough night, but we're doing well. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to go to the phones. Sorry, no, people on the phones have been very patient.
The first part of that question, I was just asking how many people were evacuated.
Gotcha. You can, yeah.
Yeah, that is a bit of a moving target, but I'm following 13,000 is what I said in my opening statement. It might be closer to 13,600, but we could take it offline there. As some of those evacuation orders are lifted and some are created, so it's a bit of a moving number, and I don't want to be incorrect or be misquoted because it's a bit of a moving number. Thank you.
Maybe we can include that later today. Okay, go to the phones, please. Operator.
Jessica Robb, CTV. Hi, thanks for taking my question. I just want to clarify the Fox Lake fire that you mentioned earlier. Last I heard there was 3 burning up there. So is that still the case? And was the one you were referencing the Pasqua fire?
Sorry, I think we missed it. There was what burned?
Sorry, I just wanted to clarify about the Fox Lake fire mentioned earlier. Last I heard there was 3 wildfires burning in that area. So I just want to confirm that there are still 3. And if the one that was being referenced, the 4,400 hectare one, is that the Pasqua fire?
I can tell you that at Alberta Wildfire, we generally give wildfires names. Numbers until they have a name at a later date. So I can tell you that the main fire that was affecting the community was HWF 030. So I'm not sure if you want to cross-reference that on the wildfire status map. But if you're looking at the map, it will tell you that there were 3 fires in that area. I think any new fires will show up on that map. They are not all out of control. There was 1 out of control fire, and that is 030 that I was referencing.
Do you have a follow-up?
Perfect, thank you. And I'm just wondering, I do, thank you. I'm just wondering, what are the challenges with that fire specifically and getting it under control at this point?
Well, one of the big challenges we're facing everywhere across the province is extreme fire activity, and that's because of the strong winds and the hot temperatures and the dry fuels that we're seeing. Certainly terrain is also a major challenge when you're fighting a wildfire. If you have accessibility issues getting to a fire, that will affect how firefighters are able to attack it. So there are certainly a number of challenges on that particular fire, but I can tell you that our firefighters were working hard on it from as soon as it was detected and bringing on more resources as the fire developed.
Next caller.
Erin Levitt, Toronto Star.
Hi there. Thanks for taking my question. I'm just wondering, a few years ago, Alberta cut wildfire rappel team. Just over 60 members, seasonal members of that team were let go, and I'm just wondering, looking at this situation overall in the province, I'm just wondering, how much is that team missed, or how much would that sort of specialized team, if it was still around, how much would it have been leaned on right now?
I couldn't speculate as to how much we would be using them right now, but I can tell you that was a very specific skill. Those were firefighters that would rappel out of a helicopter that was in the air to reach an inaccessible spot. It was evaluated, the program was evaluated at the time, and it was found that that specific skill was only used on a very small percentage of wildfires. A lot of those people were very skilled firefighters, and I'm happy to say most of them returned to Alberta Wildfire in a different capacity, and we're still able to make the most of those skilled firefighters in the ways that we tackle fire. There are a lot of ways that firefighters can access a fire. We still use helicopters. Firefighters still arrive in inaccessible locations, and there's not much that can keep us away.
Follow-up.
Yeah, thanks. You've mentioned sort of a moving target in terms of evacuees. I wonder if you can sort of comment on, if you can comment on the extent of any damage so far, like homes, buildings, that sort of thing, roads.
Yes, so we do have some data. I don't have it all with me. You know, it's while extremely tragic for the people affected, I would qualify it as mostly ones and twos in small pockets all across the province affected with those wildfires. The one that was the most severely affected is the community at Fox Lake. So we have reports of between 17 and 20 homes that were lost, unfortunately. The police station, their general store, which they call the Northern Store, and we're also hearing potential damages to the water plant. There's a meeting ongoing right now, actually, with the chief and council, our First Nation field officer, representative from the Wildfire Management Branch, where they'll be sharing imagery, because there's nobody left there, and then we'll have a better idea. But that's what I have for now, and hopefully that answers your question.
Next caller.
Audrey Neveu, Radio Canada.
Hi, can you please state clearly how many firefighters and equipment are fighting the Drayton Valley and Whistle fire currently?
At the moment, in the Drayton Valley area, we have 26 firefighters, 3 helicopters, and air tankers available to fight that fire. We are supporting the county in any way they need, and if they require more resources, we have firefighters available. We can move there.
Yeah, and I would add that we don't have the numbers that the municipality has added to that number, and the contracting capability that they're leveraging right now. So that would be probably a question for the municipality at one point.
Follow?
All right, and yes, as a follow-up, if I may ask Mr. Lacroix to also answer in French, that'd be very useful. Have you established the cause of the Drayton Valley and Whistle fire yet?
Non, absolument pas. Les feux sont sous enquête. C'est sous la responsabilité de ma collègue ici à ma droite, mais en termes de cause, non, mais comme j'ai rapporté précédemment, en termes d'hypothèse, compte tenu les conditions atmosphériques et le manque de pluie et d'éclairs et choses du genre, je pense que l'hypothèse que ce soit causé par des individus, un individu, quoi que ce soit, de façon accidentelle ou délibérée, demeure sous enquête, mais la probabilité la plus probable, c'est mal dit, mais c'est ce qui demeure le plus probable en termes de cause.
Stephen, we just repeat that in English. We've had a request, unless Christy wants to.
Yeah, please.
I can tell you that Alberta Wildfire investigates the cause of every wildfire, and at this time of year, almost all wildfires are started by human activity. So that can be recreational, it can be campfires, it can be exhaust from quad bikes running through dead grass. So I believe the cause of this exact fire is still under investigation, but we do investigate the cause of every fire, and certainly the majority are caused by humans at this time of year.
Thanks, Christy. Okay, we have 2 left on the phone. If you could put the next caller through, please.
Bill Fortier, CTV.
Hi there. I'm wondering if you can, I just want to elaborate on another question. You mentioned the structures, buildings lost up at Fox Lake or the Little Red River Cree Nation. we're aware of at least one farm in the Entwistle, Evansburg area that's been lost. Do you have a sense of total loss to property, homes lost, structures lost, buildings lost across the entire province? And specifically in Drayton Valley, have any been lost in that area?
Yeah, thanks for the question, Bill. So we do have that number, but I don't have that number, so I can commit to get that through you through other channels. And as far as your question for Drayton Valley, as far as I know, no structures have been lost in that area. But again, I'll commit to provide you those numbers when I have them available. They're readily available with the team on the second floor. Thank you.
Bill, follow?
And yeah, quick follow-up. You talked about the dashboard earlier being a source for up-to-date information. I'm a little confused. Like the dashboard does not show a fire directly to the southeast of Drayton Valley, and I can assure you there is one. Like I can see it right now. It seems to be missing some pretty big fires. And also, if you could elaborate, like, you know, the out-of-control fires are in red, but for instance, the closest one showing to Drayton Valley is blue, which means mutual aid. So if one's blue, how do we know if it's out of control, under control, or whatever? Sorry, that's two questions in one.
No, that's fine, Bill. The dashboard is, as I said, was a new innovation that we introduced last year, and we pushed very hard to have access to information about mutual aid fires because of situations like this. We generally have the best information about fires that we're the lead agency taking care of. And it's always been a little harder to get that extra information to make available to the public when another agency is the lead on the wildfire. So that is a new innovation, and we're still developing it. We put as much information as we possibly can share, and unfortunately the way we differentiate the mutual aid fires is by coloring them blue. So I think for more detailed information on mutual aid fires, at the moment the best information available is on the forest protection area wildfires. Mutual aid fires, we provide as much as we possibly can, but for more detailed information, it might be best to follow up with the municipality or to follow the information in the updates from the forest areas because they're in direct contact with municipalities.
And I believe we have one more caller.
Alex McQuaid, Western producer.
Yeah, thanks for taking my call. What resources are available for evacuating livestock that might be affected by these fires?
Yeah, these responsibilities fall within the local authorities. So the Alberta Emergency Management would have, as I said earlier, would have had training available and then developed plans, emergency plans, response plans. And if the community in question has a serious concern about livestock evacuations, we have the expertise to develop a plan in collaboration with that community or that municipality. And as an example, actually, there were a bunch of rodeo bulls pre-positioned in Drayton Valley for a rodeo, and I can report that they were all evacuated safe and sound.
Alex, follow?
Yeah, just quickly. So, I mean, if you have livestock and you need them evacuated, who do these individuals contact? Alberta Emergency Management, or?
Well, you know, everybody's always welcome to contact us, whether directly with our duty officers or through our field officers, peppered all over the province. But we would be contacting somebody else to figure this out, because it's clearly extremely important with the people facing this event. But I'm clearly focused on human lives, so that's where my number one priority lies, and I would argue wildfire as well.
All right, thanks everybody. That concludes our event today. Appreciate you attending.